Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Thanks for coming back for your daily dose of nonsense on the web with me, Contessa. I first want to tell you all thank you so much for getting me to 1,200 subscribers. I am so new to YouTube that I didn't even realize that that's like a big milestone to accomplish within 5 weeks. I appreciate you guys and could never have done any of this without all of your help. If you've been following along, you might be asking yourself, oh no, Contessa, what are you doing today? Well, today we are going to be doing Misinformation Cronies Part 8, the making of the exclusives. Over the last couple days, the past few videos I've done, we have gone over July 6th and July 7th, when Molly Golightly and Justin of Justice for All first got introduced to the Marvon McCray story. For those of you that don't know or are just catching this video, Marvon McCray is a 29-year-old Marine veteran from Yuma, Arizona. He is currently in a coma, unfortunately, after an unaliving attempt on May 23rd, 2022. He is the husband of social media influencer Dre McCray. Dre McCray has a large following on multiple platforms on social media, close to probably 1 million followers combined. She is a makeup artist and a lifestyle influencer, is what I would call her. When social media found out about Marvon being in a coma, things popped off, and unfortunately, in many situations, have gone extremely south due to social media involvement. I do want to state right off the bat that to this date, August 26th, 2022, no charges have been filed on anyone involving this story at all. There is an active and open investigation regarding the unaliving attempt on May 23rd, 2022. We have been discussing these creators and their first introduction to this case and how they presented it to their followings. Unfortunately, in this case, there has been more misinformation spread than any facts or truth. And as many of you are aware, there has been nonstop fundraising that happened from the end of June for the Bio family until just a couple days ago. And some have said that they think the fundraising is continuing. When I have proof of that, if it is continuing, I will definitely pass that on. Fundraising in this story actually started on June 26th, 2022, for the biologic mother, Letitia Bias. It was stated that Letitia was unable to see Marvon due to issues between her and Dre. The funds were stated to be going towards legal funds and travel from Georgia to Arizona for the Bio family. But the Bio family consists of Marvon Sr., which is the biologic father of Marvon Jr., and Wynette, who is his wife, Marvon's stepmother. And then there's also Letitia Bias, who is the biologic mother of Marvon McCray. Marvon was put up for adoption as a child and raised by his great grandparents. And yes, it was a fully legal adoption with even birth certificate changing. In today's video, we will be going over their stream from July 8th, 2022, when Letitia Bias came up on their channel and spoke publicly for the first time. And if you're curious about details up until this point, there is a ton of information in my previous videos. And yes, we have gone over bits and pieces of this video before. However, there is new information that keeps coming out almost daily that I think is important for people to understand the complexity of the story and how we got here.
Sorry, it really hurts how she's doing me and my family, especially me. Where are you?
Before we get too much further into this, I should mention this is my opinion and my opinion only, based off of a ton of anecdotal evidence.
Because you want to know something? If she needs to get out there, we'll get her out there.
I think she's out there right now.
Are you sure?
Yes, because
All
she
right.
was. Yes.
Remember, this is streamed on July 8th, 2022. You just heard Justin say to Molly he was sure that Letitia was in Arizona on the 8th. This will get clarified here shortly, but there has been so much confusion. Most people were unaware that this trip was even talked about. It has been mentioned by numerous people that she's been there once, twice, 3 times. No same story from anyone.
She's in Savannah. She's in Savannah.
She's not in Savannah right now.
She said she's in Savannah.
Well, did she go back home?
Yeah, I just asked. Look.
Okay, don't dox her.
No, no, no. I'm not. It's not doxing.
Okay, I just
Yeah,
didn't know.
you could put me on full screen.
So at first, Justin was pretty confident that Letitia was still in Arizona. Yet, Molly receives a text from Letitia stating no, she's home in Savannah. Justin's look of confusion is exactly the look many of us have had.
Wednesday. She said Wednesday is when she got home.
And of course, I included a little calendar screenshot for you. This was July 8th. The 6th was Wednesday. What else happened on the 6th? Anybody remember?
She's still typing. She's been home for 2 days.
So they're stating that Letitia returned home from Arizona on the 6th of July. So she had been in Arizona and was home as of the 6th of July.
Her Cash App is $sign Mrs. MRS L bias.
Spell that.
I just wanted to pause and let you know that there will be a video coming about all of the fraudulent accounts and the PayPal Cash App situations.
Okay, she said, I came back after being there for 3.5 days.
So we do know that Marvon Sr. and Wynette, the biologic father and stepmother of Marvon, had been to Arizona about the 18th of June until about the 28th of June. However, it's been extremely unclear when Letitia traveled to Arizona the first time or if she has been multiple times. This confusion was mostly created by families' statements and Letitia's statements herself to multiple different people and creators.
Here, I'm gonna show it. All right, here you go.
Spell it.
And this is the only one, you guys. This is the only one. That's the official one.
Spell it so I can type it in the chat.
In the previous video, we saw Molly from the 7th of July basically state that they needed to verify some information before proceeding with pushing the fundraiser. This is not even 24 hours since that live, and they are putting up cash apps. Letitia Bias posted her personal cash app and also a GoFundMe back at the end of June. So fundraising had already started before these creators got involved, yet they are now encouraging their followers to donate.
Yeah, we can get his mom out there.
So at this point, many people are under the understanding that Letitia Bias has just been denied access to visit Marvon whatsoever in the hospital, that she traveled to Arizona and was denied. So Molly is stating they need to get her back out there.
Is Letitia in here in the side chat? Is Letitia in the side chat? You want me to call her? I'll call her right now.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
In the stream from July 7th, we saw that Letitia texted Molly while they were live. It was read out loud, and Gigi had connected Letitia and Molly. Gigi is an admin from the Justice for Vaughn and Exposing Dre McCrae groups. That's who put Letitia and Molly in contact. Tony, the admin from Justice for Vaughn, had reached out to Molly and got her involved in this case to begin with to start talking about it. But there had also been other admins in contact with the family. Letitia Bias had already developed personal relationships with some creators and admins from certain groups on Facebook before these two creators got involved.
Something in the top
Hi,
two.
Letitia. This is MollyGoLightly. Marissa, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Well, I want you to know first and foremost that we are praying for you. Me and Justin are live right now, and we're trying to gather some money for you to go back out there.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, you just heard Molly state, we are trying to gather some money for you to go back out there. So Molly and Justin are under the understanding that Letitia has already been to Arizona.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. Excuse my voice. I just, this has been a trying couple of weeks. So I'm kind of, in and out of crying. And every time I see a new update, like I just got a text message a few minutes ago that they done moved him again. I don't know what to do.
We do know that Marvon was moved from the VA hospital to a specialty hospital. This was texted to Letitia from Wynette, the stepmother of Marvon McCray. It wasn't from the internet, it was directly from Wynette that she found out that they were moving Marvon Jr. Dre also addressed why Marvon was being moved from the VA to a specialty hospital in her videos. This is kind of where dates become important because it was stated that Marvon Jr. was moved from the VA right after Marvon Sr. and Wynette were there to visit, which would have been around the 28th of June.
What?
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I don't know what to do. Oh my God, they keep moving my baby. Every time I try to get close, she do something else. I don't know what to do.
I'm not really sure what she means by every time she gets close, she does something else. There had been discussion from Letitia that supposedly Dre took a restraining order out on her, temporary order of protection, yet there was never anything filed in any courts. Family made statements about that multiple times.
I'm trying to get money for the lawyer. I'm trying to do it the legal way. I've been up there for 3.5 days, going back and forth to the hospital. These people turning me around.
Letitia herself states here that she had been in Arizona and they kept turning her around. Yet, this was posted from Without a Crystal Ball on July 7th, 2022. Now, July 6th, 7th is also when Without a Crystal Ball got involved with this case and started covering it. She directly was also in contact with the family. The creators weren't sharing information. These two both had direct connections to the family, to my understanding. Again, this was posted on Without a Crystal Ball the day before this stream that we're going over.
Select Medical, this is Brian. How can I help you?
Hey Brian, how you doing? My name is Letitia Bias, and I was wondering, do you have my son at your hospital? His name is Marvon McCray.
What was the last name?
McCray, MCCRAY.
And what relation are you?
I'm his mother.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to give out any information.
At all, even because I came to Tucson to see him.
At all. You can talk to his wife.
Okay. And there's no way, like, anyone else I can maybe speak to?
Nope, she's the only one that we're allowed to give information to.
Even with me visiting him?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
No problem.
All right.
So again, this was posted on Without a Crystal Ball from July 7th, 2022. We do know that that was also the first date that Molly had contact with Letitia Bias on July 7th, 2022. We went over that in the stream from yesterday. So both creators individually had contact with Letitia Bias, the biologic mother of Marvon McCray at this time. Letitia had been stated to have been in Arizona about the 5th, 6th is when she returned to Georgia from Arizona. It was told to admins and creators alike from Letitia herself that she went to Arizona, attempted to see Marvon, was denied seeing Marvon, returned, and then called the facility, and they also followed up and said no, she was not allowed, and that's where this recording came from. This recording would have taken place about the 5th of July. Marvon had been moved from the VA at the end of June.
Just want to see him. That's it. I'm not asking for no information. I'm not asking for anything personal.
We need to be kind of clear on something that personal information was released by multiple sources. One of those sources was the family themselves. They are who released much of the private personal information and what is going on in this story to the public, the family.
But, I mean, I got a text message yesterday stating that I can't. I responded back. The next thing you know, you tell me I got to go public with all of this stuff when you did this to me. I didn't do this to you.
And again, we've all seen the text messages at this point of Dre telling Letitia, yes, she could come, but due to precautions that were put in place for infection protocol, that they were limiting visitors to only her. And in yesterday's video that I did, you also heard from another sibling who got the very same text that Letitia did about visiting Marvon. This wasn't just against Letitia, it was the entire family. And we've also learned at this point in time that Letitia was not the one to write the text messages back and forth between her and Dre. That was done for Letitia by Gigi, an admin for Justice for Vaughn. Eve, an admin for the groups, had also been helping Letitia communicate with Dre. And those messages also can be found in videos on my page, or you can go on over to Facebook. They're all there too. But there was a lot going on that people didn't know.
She better let her in today. She better let her in, or I'm coming out there.
I'm really confused by his statements here because we just heard Letitia herself state that she was back in Georgia at the time. So how she was going to be let in that day, I don't know.
I've actually called her and I left her. She sent me the voicemail, but I did leave her a message and I said, not for nothing. I said, but we're trying to help you. Like, this is going.
If you want to hear that phone call and that live that was streamed, it's a shortened version on my channel. Also, we did go over that where Molly says she wants to help her.
Gone a little too far. And I think that if you really kind of want this to stop, because this is going to get bigger, you need to let his parents and his stepmother see him.
Remember, this is being streamed on July 8th, 2022. The stepmother and bio father, Marvon Sr., had been to Arizona around the 18th through the 28th of June. And she's using parents and not separating them into the biologic mother and the biologic father. Also not telling her followers that Marvon was adopted and his adoptive mother is alive. Not only is his adoptive mother alive, she is very much aware of the situation of what is going on with Marvon. In fact, I would say that she was probably one of the very first contacts Dre made.
And I have to say, Letitia, this is not looking good. I mean, I hate to say it, but this is not looking good. And Dre is looking very, very bad right now.
And it's been like that since the beginning, because only thing that I said to my son when I first met her, she wouldn't even come in the house. She finally came in the house and we were introduced, and I talked to her for a minute, and then I took my son outside, and I had a mother-son talk with him. And the only thing I said, was I was a little concerned, about her background as far as like being married before already having 2 children.
I just want to bring up how ironic this part of the conversation is, considering Letitia is talking about how she warned Marvon and just was looking out for his best interest, basically, that she had some red flags because she was previously married and or had previous children from that relationship. The reason I find it ironic is because Letitia herself was a young mother, multiple children at very young ages. Yet we were supposed to respect and give her grace.
And he was young. He was only 21. He just graduated Marine Corps. He was excited. I'm like, okay. And he was like, Mama, this one I'm going to be with. So, I said, okay. And I left it like that.
And yes, if you've been following this case, you do know that they had an estranged relationship for many years. Over 10 years, their relationship had been estranged, Marvon and Letitia's. Yes, she still loved him as her son, and he loved her as his mother. But these are conversations that he would have had with his adoptive mother, who has a relationship with Dre and the children, and is very supportive of that relationship, loves them all.
But those few words that I spoke to my son drew a wedge, and it's been like that for years now.
She even states herself, it's been years.
I never met my grandson.
She even states she's never met her grandson. Marvon Jr. and Dre had been to Georgia, but unfortunately, Letitia hadn't even got to meet the grandson. And yes, of course, we do know that Marvon Sr. and Wynette have met the grandson one time before. They said about 6 years ago was the first time and only time they had met him.
I mean, when they came to Savannah that time, anybody that know me know I'm a workaholic. So I was at work. Before I could get off to make it there, they were gone.
And again, listen to what she says.
So I hadn't even met my grandson, hold them, touch them, anything. So not only is now I'm dealing with my son, I'm worried about seeing videos of him. You know, it's a lot. It really is a lot.
Yeah.
But the only thing I want to do is just see him. If they can let me in there for 10 minutes just to be able to hold my son's hand and kiss him, that's all I want to do. That's it.
As of today's date, August 26th, 2022, it has been stated that Letitia Bias has been able to see Marvon in Arizona. She traveled from Georgia to Arizona around the 16th of July and was able to spend a few days in Arizona with Marvon, visiting him in the hospital. And yes, there's still a lot of confusion on the previous trips or future trips.
And to tell my baby that I love him. That's it. And I will be able to find peace inside myself knowing, but I can't give up on the part of that, not really knowing what happened to him, because if you knew my son the way we knew my son, it's just not his character to go outside and do something like that. I would prefer they said, I don't even know if I can say this on camera, that he did it another way.
Right.
But oh my God, it just hurt. It really do hurt.
I need to be clear before I make this next statement that in no way, shape, or form am I discrediting Letitia's feelings about the situation with her son. Marvon, at the end of the day, will always be a part of her. She is his biologic mother. No matter how long their relationship had been estranged, no matter how long they had started talking for before this incident, this is still a tragic incident for anybody to handle. So at the end of the day, I'm sure her emotions have been all over the place. And we do know from videos that Dre posted on her own social media pages that Marvon had reconnected with his bio family recently before the incident. However, they had been estranged for long over 10 years. Him and Letitia didn't have a great relationship. He did keep in contact with some of his siblings and a little bit with his bio father here and there. However, due to life circumstances around the parents, they weren't involved.
And I've tried. She says she have always had open communication with me. That is not true.
Some of the communications between Letitia and Dre have been posted on social media. If you are interested in seeing that, they are on many channels, Facebook pages, and groups. In my opinion, communication between Letitia and Dre seemed pretty decent in the beginning. However, things quickly took a spiral downhill. And a lot of that, in my opinion, is also because of social media's involvement in this story. Everybody has their own opinion of who's at fault for bringing it to social media, which you're entitled to.
I wish that there was a way to pull T-Mobile's phone records with my son's phone number, and you would see the amount of texts and calls that me and my family and my kids, his siblings, my husband, his father wife, that we all have tried to reach out to Doughboy, because we call him Doughboy, and to reach out to him, and it was always a non-response.
Just so everyone is aware, T-Mobile can pull this type of information for you. If you are trying to recover lost messages, texts, photos, memories, they will assist their customers in doing so. The person trying to gather the records would pull from their carrier, but it can be done and all of that information can be retrieved, just in case anybody didn't know that in the future.
So to get that last 2-hour conversation with my baby, it was, oh my God, it was like heaven on earth. It was heaven on earth. And then he tried to bring up certain things. And you know what I told my son on that phone? And I may be talking a little too much, but I just want to tell you this. The only thing that I said to him is that nothing in the past matters. What matters most is us staying in contact from this point on, me meeting my grandchildren. I did not say grandson. I say grandchildren.
Social media has dubbed that one conversation that both Marvon Jr. and Letitia have spoke about on live, that was kind of their reconnection at the beginning of 2022. That conversation kind of has morphed their relationship and what social media has grasped onto to define their relationship. This conversation has been turned and twisted to fit whoever's narrative that is telling the story about Marvon McRae.
Even putting the differences aside with Drea so that I could be close to my son. Those were the words, that's what we talked about. And then we started talking about, he's talked about his lifestyle change on how he was eating. I told him that now that I do a lot of organic stuff. It was just a difference. A good conversation. A couple of days later, I get a text message, Mom, I'm thinking about you. Send me a boatload of pictures of them. Oh my goodness, phone flooded with pictures.
There's just a lot of inconsistencies in this story.
So happy. Then I called and text. No response again. I was like, I told my daughter, I was like, oh my God, he's gone cold again.
I need to take a moment here and talk about mental health, because we've heard Letitia state that in her opinion, this isn't something that they ever thought that Marvon would do. They are not really able to accept that he would do this to himself. And because of the alleged attempt on May 23rd, 2022, that social media has been talking about, I really think that talking about mental health and how serious this issue actually is important. There is a lot of warning signs in individuals, but sometimes we miss things right in front of us. Unfortunately, a lot of people that suffer even from depression isolate themselves and withdraw from family and loved ones. And no matter what your opinion is on this story, we have to acknowledge that mental health has played a significant role. To disregard what a serious issue this really is and how many people it affects, it's not just one person that this affects in this story.
And she was like, no, Mama, something wrong. Next thing you know, Saturday morning I wake up, my cousin called me and said, do you know that the boy in the hospital? And I was like, well, he must, I know that he was starting. No, she said, do you know he's sick? And I said, no. I know last time I talked to him, he was doing fine. So she sent me a video record because I've always been blocked on her social media site. So that's another reason why I couldn't really keep up with them.
Letitia states that she found out about the incident from a cousin of hers calling her after the cousin saw it on social media. Letitia also stated that Dre has had them blocked off of social media, so that's another reason why she didn't know. Letitia, in fact, made a post about Dre blocking them a couple days after they found out about the incident.
And it was a video of my son being in a coma. And I'm like, what? So I looked, and it was like 8 hours from the video being posted. So I got her number, I reached out to her. The next day, I get a text, stating, I text her the next day. I called her, then I text her the next day. Then finally, she, said she'll call me when she leaves the hospital. And a conversation happened between us. I thought it was good.
Letitia even states that communication between her and Dre seemed to be going okay, and then things obviously took a turn for the worse. I do need to mention that the adoptive mother of Marvon McRae is very involved and aware of the situation.
I got another text 4 a.m. stating that she thought it was in the best interest that I didn't come. And it's been downward spiral ever since.
And we have all seen the text messages between Letitia and Dre, of course, and if you haven't, they're up on the channel. And we've also heard bits and pieces of the phone call between Letitia and Dre. Dre recorded that and played bits and pieces of it on her channel.
But this has been a mess. It has been a mess.
Wow.
Because she said this has been a mess, I want to mention a few things and a few key points that I think people need to really understand. Not once in this entire time have we heard them mention that Marvon Sr. and Wynette, the biologic father, was allowed to see Marvon. Not once have we heard them clarify what the funds exactly will be used for that they are raising money for. But the biggest piece to me that nobody mentioned is the adoptive mother and her rights and feelings.
All because I want to be there. I have not did anything to her. Nothing.
In my opinion, I do think that Letitia should have been allowed to see her son. However, if she was denied solely on the basis of infection protocol and limiting visitors to protect Marvon, I can totally understand that and agree with it because that is standard procedure, especially through COVID. Were there other things playing into that decision? Yes, I do think so. But I think that was the main part always.
Nothing. Not to be able, to say no, that I can't see him, not knowing if it's my last time or not.
Yeah.
And again, they're not mentioning that Marvon Sr., the bio father, had been able to see him because he was at the VA. Letitia is being stated to being denied, but yet it wasn't only Letitia being denied. The daughter was also, Marvon's sister was being denied. Dre sent her the exact same message. We saw it in yesterday's video that I did, where Dre reads the messages. So I think this leads a little bit more to that as a reason.
That I posted. What did I say bad about her?
No.
Only thing I said was I want to see my son. That's it.
I
didn't say anything bad about her. I didn't say anything bad about my grand. I just wanted to see. I just said I wanted to see him. So yes, I got a little upset when you wouldn't tell me what was wrong with my son.
We've heard enough from all different sides of this story to know that they had some family issues. Obviously, family troubles, like so many of us, suffer. Unfortunately, family problems is kind of a common thing. And Letitia states that she hasn't said anything bad in her opinion about Dre or the situation. However, I need to remind people that this was July 8th that she's saying this. Letitia joined the Exposing Dre McCray, which that's her daughter-in-law, right? That would be her son's wife. She joined Exposing Dre McCray on Facebook, the group, on June 24th, the very same day it was made. Letitia's also the one that has released very private information, like the police report, to the public. Dre absolutely did put videos out of her husband and explained some of the situation before Letitia got involved. But there was a lot going on that people missed.
And then I get this email with this information in it.
People have been speculating that the dates on the police report were off because it says on the police report that she got it on the 24th. However, it wasn't posted until July 6th. People have been saying it was because it was mailed to Letitia. I just wanted to point out that Letitia herself right there says that it was emailed to her. That's the report that she is talking about. It was emailed to her on the 24th. The family got it on the 24th of June.
And you knew all along.
And I'm sorry, y'all, some of this feels repetitive because you've heard this if you've been watching my videos, but I need to mention something very important here. The alleged incident happened on May 23rd, 2022. Dre told her supporters on May 28th, 2022. We know that the adoptive mother of Marvon McCray was aware of the situation the very day that it happened. Marvon Sr. had traveled to Arizona to see him, was in possession of the police report, and also knew about the incident on June 24th, 2022, the same date that Letitia Bias herself got the information of what actually happened to cause Marvon to be in the coma. Dre herself at this point in time has not gone public and spoke about the incident itself. In fact, again, she was not the one to release the police reports to the public. That was Letitia Bias, who did so through the Exposing Dre McRae and Justice for Vaughn groups. And fundraising had already begun.
Are you alone right now?
I'm sitting in my car.
You're in your car?
Yeah.
And again, this is in no way, shape, or form to discredit Letitia's feelings or emotions on this situation. That is not my intention on any of these videos to anyone involved.
Because I pulled up in front of it. Sometimes I get to the point where I sit in front of the house and just pray. You know, because I don't want to take the energy that I have inside the house, so I leave it in the car.
Unfortunately, the emotional pull that this case has had from the start has been intense, causing so much of this confusion.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
I try to leave it in the car and just keep a clear head when I go in my house. And, you know, I pray in my car, I do a lot of stuff in my car, but I sit in here and I just think about,
She does seem to spend a lot of time in her vehicle.
what can I do? You know, next. It's hard when you way in another state. I'm not rich, so I worked hard.
And again, supposedly at this point in time, Letitia has already been to Arizona and was denied. She stated that there was a TPO on her, temporary order of protection, and that she was not able to even go near Marvon. However, nothing was ever filed. Many people, including myself, were unaware that Marvon was adopted until halfway into the story. That significantly changed things for me because Letitia has no legal right.
I take care. I look out for my kids. I look out for my grandkids, and it's like, you know, you just want to be a good mother and grandmother and wife. You're not trying to hurt anyone. I'm not doing that.
I tend to not give my opinion very often on a whole lot, but this I will give my opinion on because I feel very strongly about it. Letitia states that she's not trying to hurt anybody, yet the first group she joined on Facebook was Exposing Dre McRae. That's her daughter-in-law. No matter what, at the end of the day, that is Marvon's wife. He chose to marry her and stay with her. She is also the mother of your grandchildren, right? The grandchildren. And I do understand that hurt people a lot of times hurt people. However, I just find it really counterproductive that her answer to not communicating well with Dre was bringing it to social media and women that were hell-bent on exposing her daughter-in-law. That is, at the end of the day, the mother of her grandchildren, the wife of her son. That's hurtful, in my opinion.
My past has been brought up when I was 14 and 16. Yes, everybody has made mistakes in their life.
I agree with the fact that everybody has made mistakes in their life. However, you can't sit and sling mud at somebody else's past and not expect yours to get brought up at the same time.
I didn't just throw my son away. For
You're
all
not
of that,
different.
then all of my kids would have been gone.
Right.
It's a whole story to that, you
Yeah.
know, but nobody believes my part on that part.
Because she's already painted a picture.
There is a lot to the story of why Marvon was put up for adoption and or Letitia's part in that. However, that's here nor there in the big picture of things. It happened, it is what it is. Marvon was adopted. His adoptive family is very much involved. Unfortunately, he lost his adoptive father, his great-grandfather, last year. And in my opinion, it is completely disrespectful for everybody to completely ignore the adoptive family's rights.
We've only known about this for about 48 hours. And when she started to call you the egg donor, that was pretty vicious. Yes, it's vicious. It's a vicious attack. It's a very vicious attack. So,
Regardless of whether there's something, you know, in the family, if there's a disagreement or not, in these times you come together.
For the record, I have never called her that ever. I refer to her as the bio just for the matter of explaining who she is, not to disrespect her in any way, shape, or form either.
This is
Thank
when
you.
you come together.
That's what funerals and weddings and birthday parties are for. You take those times and you mend family. If someone passed away, I know in Savannah, you can be mad with somebody 100 years, but if they pass away, you show up.
Listen closely to the words that are said in this segment. To me, this said a lot. I don't think that they have any anticipation of him surviving or making it out of the coma from this conversation.
Thank you,
And
Susan.
show
Just
your
thank you.
respect. Or if it's someone's birthday, or if it's, that's, I don't know if that's just Savannah, or Georgia, but, we can be mad with somebody 20 years, but let something happen to them. We're running there to see if they're okay.
Then why did you run to social media instead?
I don't get that. I don't understand that. That's not a reason to say, oh, you hadn't talked to him for 6 years, so why show up now? Because he need me more now than he did when he was able to take care of himself.
And remember, these are her words. The first time she's publicly speaking. She says she hasn't had contact in over 6 years. She herself says that.
That's right. That's right.
He's not able now.
Unfortunately, he is still in a coma.
You need to put your arms around your son, and she needs to allow that. That's the least.
And I was told that I'm toxic. Okay.
I mean, we're all a little toxic. There's just levels.
If I'm toxic, then why nobody else is from around me? It's like everybody in my family loves me. And they know that if anything, they mad because I never show up tonight because I'm always at work. But that's it. I'm not a toxic person.
I look back at this and think if they would have just been honest about so many things or told the truth, we would have never gotten here.
I'm not hateful. I don't do any of that.
And again, you guys are going to have to make your own opinions on what you have seen and her behaviors, if she is hateful or toxic or whatever you feel she is. I've got my own opinions.
You're a mother.
That's not good in God's eye.
You're a mother, and you have a son, and you deserve to wrap your arms around him and tell him you love him one more time.
I understand the mother's desire to say goodbye and tell her son one last time she loves him. I totally understand that, and I'm so glad she was able to do that. But I want you guys to think about this for a minute. There is many kids that are put up for adoption, many of them into non-relative homes. In situations like this, if it was a non-relative, would all of you had the same feelings? And would you think that Letitia's desires override the adoptive families?
I mean, I can't eat. I barely sleep. I'm barely going to work, because I can't focus, because I'm like, how can I even do these things like something normal, a normal day, not knowing if my son won't even open his eyes again?
Not to discredit her feelings, but have we ever heard her mention the adoptive mother and how much she's going through also?
It's hard. I apologize for,
Don't.
but
Apologize.
it's just, you caught me right at the time I was trying to release in the car, so I was already crying when you
Again, this is from July 8th, 2022.
called. So I apologize about that.
Just remember, the Lord Jesus Christ loves it when you pray out loud. Remember that.
Yes.
Don't be ashamed.
Yes.
Pray out loud.
Actually, I don't think the Lord cares how you pray.
He's answering. I've seen some miracles happen in these past couple of days, so he's answering. And I just want to say thank you and for just stepping in because you don't know me from Adam. And you guys are trying to help me see my son, and you're also worried about my grands, and you're worried about my son.
Yes, there have been a lot of people that have been genuinely concerned about Marvon and or the family in general. However, a lot of them are concerned based off of misinformation that they've heard.
What more can I ask for?
Honesty. Oh wait, that's what we're asking for. That's what we want.
And I feel bad because I really wish that we could come to just some type of medium where, you know, she could say, well, I don't want to be in the area when they come, but they can come. That's all we want.
We might never get an answer or any further understanding of what happened between Dre and Letitia that sent their communication so much further south. But thankfully, Letitia has been able to see Marvon in the hospital due to an agreement between her and Dre and supposedly an attorney. I question daily if social media would have never gotten involved and this wouldn't have blown up on social media in the way that it did. Would that have ever been necessary in the first place?
And are you in touch with Dre's father and stepmother?
I don't know them.
Oh, you just don't know them or her? Okay.
In the messages between Dre and Marvon's sister, we heard Dre state that her parents have a great relationship with Marvon, and they too have been denied access.
No, I don't know them. I never was introduced. And the only thing I know is that my son, it hurted me one day when I saw a post about this is how a real mom is supposed to treat their kids. And my son was calling her mom, and I'm being called an egg donor. That hurt it.
Again, I'm sure that did hurt her feelings, but I'm confused because I thought they said Dre was calling her that, which I have heard Dre call her that. But this sounds like Marvon himself was calling her that in this post.
But I forgive and I forget because I say, you know not what you do. You can't get mad with somebody that may not know what they're doing.
Right.
So I let it go.
And now we're seeing the videos of the other side of what was truly going on. Now we're seeing the videos of Marvon speaking about the trauma he experienced in his childhood at the hands of his bio mom and stepfather.
But I never met any her parents, you know, and we got a grandson. We share a grandson with each other, and I don't even know that woman's name. I don't know her father or her stepfather's name.
Again, these are her statements that she made.
But she know everything about us because they let you know my son talk about us.
That doesn't make sense to me because, of course, Marvon talks about them. We've all heard him talk about his family on live streams, but it doesn't discredit his trauma and what he went through as a child either. I don't understand how we've discredited the victim's life and the victim's story in all of this. This was about justice for Marvon, right? This was supposed to be about justice for Marvon.
She know everything about us.
She's married to your son. Of course she would.
And when she came, even though I was at work, after she had the baby, they treated her with love and open arms. You know, it wasn't like we don't like her and this, that, and the other. It was never like that. Never.
First of all, how do you know that they treated her like that if you were at work? We have heard Letitia talk about this trip to Georgia that they had taken. We've also heard Marvon Sr. and Wynette both talk about the trip to Georgia. And no matter what happened on that trip or any trip after that, the family had some issues that they were obviously trying to work through. Marvon has a big family. He's got 7 siblings, 7 of them. Some he was very close to, others not so much.
And my grandmother, that's my grandmother, who she keep talking about. My grandmother has dementia.
This is where Letitia starts to talk about Marvon's adoptive mother, his great-grandmother, which is her grandmother. And again, his adoptive father, his great-grandfather, passed away last year.
Oh.
I talked to my grandmother on the phone. We would never. That's that's my mother's mother. Why would I threaten my mother's mother?
Dre spoke about that issue in her video that we addressed briefly yesterday.
Live that are showing you tons of support and thousands of people that are praying for you right now.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thousands from all over the world.
All right, y'all. That was her first public interview that she gave with Molly and Justin. Looking back on all of these, there are so many things that stand out that we still don't have answers to. There were so many red flags in these initial streams that were said that should have been clarified, and still to this day, months after this initially started, we still haven't gotten clarification on. We continue to seek answers and transparency in this case, yet the further we look, the more we realize that the basis of this case and the story of justice for Vaughn was intentionally laid with misinformation. The foundation was built off of misinformation that came, obviously, directly from the mouths of the family. However, instead of the family correcting this misinformation, they have aligned themselves with creators who continue to pass off false narratives and misinformation, which has been the foundation of the story. Justice for Vaughn was started as a mission for a mother to seek visitation with her son. But what we're finding out is that Justice for Vaughn was initially started by a bunch of women with a vendetta against Dre. And these are the very women that Letitia Bias has associated herself with and has aligned herself with, are the very ones attacking her daughter-in-law. And people are somehow still confused of why Dre would deny her access. I would love to hear what adoptive parents think of this. What are your thoughts on this? Does this bother you at all? Do you think it's unfair? I would love to hear your thoughts, and everyone else too. Thank you all for watching another one of my crazy videos. I appreciate you all so much. Please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up on your way out. Contessa, over and out.